have opened up room for so many awesome people not being in a relationship that I have more love in my life now than I could have, like, ever imagined. Like, you're my wife. I have no time for someone who's not worth it for me.
Okay.
So
do you have a funny story about that?
I
mean, I know them, but I don't want to tell you here.
Oh, which one?
I don't know.
Because I'm really having a hard time thinking of one.
Do you want me to share my story first, and then you can go again?
Sure.
Okay. I kind of like the story. It's really fun. So, I was actually in one of my spirit... I love you. I had a date with this guy that night.
Mr. Rogers.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And as I'm, like, leaving my class, this energy comes to me and was like, hi, I'm so-and-so's mother. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I think I was going crazy because I'm like, no way, this guy's young. There's no way his mother's gone. Like, I was just not even thinking it. I, of course, sometimes I think I'm making all this stuff up, which is okay because I don't know where the stuff comes from. It's just spirit. And she kept talking to me, and she's like, I need you to talk to my son. I need to do blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, go away. And I met up with this guy, and we're at some buffet, and I am, like, in line with him, and he's talking about all this different food and stuff, and boom, she's, like, right there again. She's like, dude, you need to talk to him. I need to talk to him. And I'm like, I am not doing this. This is a first date. He's going to think I'm nuts. Like, I wasn't coming out as, like, a psychic medium, let alone on a first date. And we're sitting down at dinner, and I'm, like, eating this food, and he's talking, and she's sitting right next to me. Like, I felt like I should have pulled a chair out for her. She's, like, sitting there, and she's like, when you talk? And I'm like, oh my God, go away. And she's like, no, I need to talk to my son. And so I'm eating away, and he's telling me about kind of this, you know, that typical icebreakers and filling in about you. What do you do for fun? Which I hate that question, by the way. What do you do for fun? We'll get into that later.
My whole life is fun.
Absolutely, I know. So he starts talking, and he's like, yeah, so my mom died 10 years ago, and I just, like, I had the fork in my mouth, and I looked up, and I'm like, what the I think I dropped the fork. And he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, I guess I have to tell you this now. And I'm like, I'm a psychic medium, and your mother's been here the whole time, and she wants to talk to you. And it kind of turned, I'm like, I just need to, like, pass on a few messages, and then she'll go away, and we can enjoy the rest of the dinner. And, like, he was just like, okay. And I just gave his messages, and he was like, oh. And she went away. Like, that was the whole point to it. But I went home going, oh my God, dating is never going to be the same again. Like, when your dead mother shows up.
I don't know if I have any like that. I more or less am just like, I want to wear a GoPro on my head. I want to go on dates and tell people that I'm a psychic medium when they ask and get their reaction. So if any of you have any single friends, don't tell them what I do for a living. And we can get their freaking reaction on camera. Because it would be awesome. Because a lot of people... Dating is very interesting when you have to tell them.
Did you get turned down?
I'm trying to think. The guys that I have told have been cool with it. One of them didn't believe me, and then his grandfather... Oh, here we go. His grandfather popped up in back of him, and I'm like, oh, well... Your grandpa's here. And I described his grandpa, and he's just kind of like, how do you know that? And I'm like, hello! Like, I get that, like, with everyone, though. It's like, how do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that? Because I'm a psychic.
And it's funny, too, because sometimes they're like, oh, well, prove it. And I'm like, this isn't about me proving anything to you.
Yeah,
I know what I do. And it's really funny because, like, if they're like that, we'll just start talking. And I'm not intentionally reading them, but something will come up, and they'll be like, again, like, how did you know that? I'm like, I told you I was psychic. Can we, like, move on from this now? Like, hello.
Don't ask us for wow factors if you don't want us to know what's really going on for you. Because we'll find out.
You're gonna scare them.
No, I'm just saying. People will be like,
we'll
prove
find
it.
You.
People will be like, prove it. And then it's just like, so tell me about the time when they're like, how did you know that?